What I'm hearing here is one of the many things that you do when it comes to sales is helping people ethically and with integrity rise above the competition.
Correct.
Can you talk a little more about that in terms of how your process helps people rise above the competition, especially when they have a commodified, is that the right way putting it?
Commoditized,
Co-
commodified, whatever. You
commodified.
invented a new word. That's differentiation right there.
That's a Canadian version. Maybe. Yeah. Yeah. When people are the same, how do they differentiate and rise above the competition through sales?
Well, and so there's a concept that we teach in the Same Side Selling Academy that isn't even in the book because I came up with this concept shortly after Same Side Selling was published, and I thought I'm not going back and redoing the book just to add this concept, and it's become one of the more popular concepts. What we need to recognize is that oftentimes our clients don't know the difference between what we do and what other people do. And when that happens, we try to often blame the client, but it's really the seller's fault if we haven't helped them understand what's different about them versus us. And so there's a concept I teach called the client vision pyramid. And the idea of the client vision pyramid is as soon as the client expresses an interest in what it is that you define what the market is. So you say, oh, when people are looking for that type of product or service, they're usually looking for someone who can help them at one of three levels. See, the industry is kind of shaped like a pyramid. At the base of the pyramid is what we call the effective level. These are people who, and then you kind of describe what they do. And it has to sound good. You can't say, well, sometimes people are looking for this basic level and they suck. No one wants that. So it always has to sound good. And then I say the next level up is what we call the enhanced level. The enhanced level has these additional capabilities and offerings, et cetera. At the highest level, it's where the smallest number of people in our industry, this is where what we call the engaged level, this is where you're dealing with an organization that's focused on your results, measuring the outcomes, making sure the T's are crossed, the I's are dotted, getting exactly what you need. Which level are you looking for? And so by defining those levels, the clients can now self-select and say, no, I want that highest level. Or you know what? Yeah, that highest level sounds really good, but we just want this thing at the bottom.
Yeah.
Those people are just going to buy based on price. You can decide if you want to pursue those types of accounts or not. Most of my clients agree that no, we don't want to pursue them. We let our competitors go after them. We focus on the people who are looking to achieve that highest value. People in sales will often lead with price and then they get upset that the clients focus on price. So they'll say to someone, oh, are you using another vendor right now? Yeah, I am. Okay. Well, how much are they charging you? Maybe I can save you some money. The client says, well, right now we're paying $10,000 a month for these guys. Oh, and then 3 days later, the salesperson says, well, the client's just focused on price. Well, you told them to focus on price. But if earlier in the sales process, if instead, if you said, well, so you're working with this other vendor right now, I'm guessing it doesn't really matter how much you're paying them if you're not getting the results that you would hope for. On a scale from 0 to 10, how well do you think they're achieving the results that you're looking for? Oh, probably like a 7. Really? Why 7? Well, they're doing this well, but they're not doing those things. Okay. So if someone could help you achieve those other things, would it be worth a discussion about how we might be able to help? Oh, yeah, that'd be great. And now we're focused on value instead of price because what we have to recognize is that it doesn't matter how much you pay. If you don't get the results or outcome you're looking for, it's not a good deal. But too often people in sales think, well, the reason this person isn't buying from us is because someone else is less expensive. No, if they think that everyone's going to do a mediocre job, then they're going to buy from the people who are the cheapest. If they think the more expensive firm is going to do an extraordinary job for them, much like the example of Dome Construction, they go, oh, well, yeah, I'll pay 30% more because I know it's going to get done right the first time. I know I'm not going to have any surprises. I know I'm not going to have delays on my project. Everything's going to be flawless. I want to work with them. And I'll pay a little bit more for that and I'm okay with it. Instead, how can I reinforce this and give ongoing coaching and mentoring no matter where people sit?
One thing I really like the way that you structured it is that balance between those easily accessible micro lessons in the courses and the really personalized live one-on-ones where you have people coming in and asking questions that are on their minds. What are 2 or 3 examples, Ian, of questions you've been getting in those group calls each month that are on the minds of people, whether or not they're in sales, in business right now, that you've addressed?
Yeah, so the monthly session we call the Coach's Corner, and so people can submit topics. Almost every single month, there's at least one topic related to what we call ghosting. So ghosting is, wow, I had a good conversation, things are going well, and now these people just fell off the face of the planet. They're not returning my phone calls, they're not replying to emails. What do I do? That's one of the most prevalent. The other one is, wow, we're reaching out to this client who we can really help, and we're the best game in town for them. They won't give us the time of day. We can't capture their attention. What do we do? Those are probably the two biggest ones. Then it gets into, hey, how do we deal with this competitive environment? How do we displace the competition? They're beating us up on price. How do we deal with that? Those are probably the three or four most popular ones. But really, it comes back to this idea of, how do I earn attention to begin with? And then it's a matter of, okay, now they've earned their attention, how do I keep their attention, and why are they disappearing?
Can you talk a little more about the first one, about ghosting?
Yep. So the idea of ghosting, what happens is people say, well, these guys seem really interested, and now they fell off the face of the earth. So why does that happen? Well, what we have to do is, much of same side selling is about looking through the lens of our customer. So we've all been on that same side where we reached out to someone, it's no longer urgent for us, and now it's not that we want to blow them off, it's just it's no longer that important to us. Well, why not? And what happens most often is that the people in sales are more focused on the sale than they are the outcome. So they're reaching out to the client saying, hey, I'm just calling to check in and see if you made a decision yet. I'm just calling to check in and see whether or not you've gotten this thing signed off on, or something along those lines. And instead, what you should be saying is, when we spoke, you mentioned this was the hurdle that you guys couldn't overcome. It was having this impact on your business. It sounded really important. I haven't heard back. Did you guys find another way to solve that? And that's how we get to it, because now I'm reaching out in their interest, not in my interest. And it's a trap that people fall into, because you're focused on the sale because you want the revenue. But the reality is, if the client wants the outcome, you're going to get the sale. So focus on the outcome, focus on the obstacle or the issue and the impact of not solving that issue, and the result they'll get from your solution. And then everything else just kind of happens.
Be nice to everyone. I know that's going to sound to a lot of people, how dare she say that? That's not smart enough to. Yes, it is, because we forget that. We want to pick the people who can help us, who can guide our career, who can move us to the next level. Forget it. You want to know why? You never know who you're standing next to. I am quoting my own mother and my grandmother's. You never know. That's the number one marketing. You never know. You don't know who you're standing next to, who they're related to, who their neighbors are, who they went to school with, what they would like to do for you because you are nice to them.
Mm.
And don't worry about judging people by what they wear. Forget that. The people who I once did that, and I made a terrible mistake. I was speaking, I went to an event, partners at one of the major financial firms. And I said to the CFO, who I knew, I said, who's that guy? All the rest were wearing suits, and he was like just wearing an alpaca or what kind of sweater. And I kind of looked down my nose at him. And the partner who I was talking to said, Susan, you just made a really big mistake. That guy isn't our client, and we'd kill to have him. He was one of the original guys in the Silicon Valley, worth millions. And here's what this guy, Pete, said to me. He said, he doesn't have to dress for success because he already is one. So that person in a pair of jeans that has holes in the knees and thighs, those jeans might have cost $250. You don't know.
Yeah.
So don't judge people by their clothes. Listen to what they say. I think you can judge people by what they say. And how about this? And what they do.